Hey everyone. Okay, it's me again, Michelle. This time I'm on Sweet Home Heaven. So like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I put out my chapter of the Bible reading. Also, on my other channel, Michelle Lokerson blog, and you can see how to spell that in the description that I put in to point you in the right direction. I haven't put the link down there. I learned how to do it, and then I can't remember how I did it. But anyway, it's all right. But anyway, guys, so today is Saturday, October the 30th, 2021. And today we're reading Acts 24. Well, I've already read it. And if does not pertain, this pertains, when I was reading this, I was thinking of the political prisoners who are in jail for what happened, in January. I mean, we all know the truth, but this just kind of goes along with, and it kind of makes you understand why people make decisions. And I'm not saying that they're right, because they're not right, but it just kind of puts things in context for me, because what we're experiencing right now, this has been going on since the beginning of time. In actuality, the focus section says, truth triggers opposition. So let's start here. Accused of sedition, Acts chapter 24. Now after 5 days, Ananias the high priest came down with the elders and a certain orator named Tertullus, Tertullus. These gave evidence to the governor against Paul. Now when he was called upon, Tertullus, Tertullus, began his accusation, saying, seeing that through you we enjoy great peace and prosperity is being brought to this nation by your foresight, we accept it always and in all places, most noble Felix, with all thankfulness. I'm gonna spit it out in a minute. Nevertheless, not to be tedious to you any further, I beg you to fear. I got everything. I get my words are turned around today. All right. I beg you to hear by your courtesy a few words from us, for we have found this man a plague, a creator of dissension among all the Jews throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. Sect meaning religion. He even tried to profane the temple, and we seized him and wanted to judge him according to our law. But the commander, Lysias, Lysias, came by and with great violence took him out of the hands, commanding his accusers to come to you. By examining him yourself, you may ascertain all these things of which we accuse him. And the Jews also assented, agreed, maintaining that these things were so. The defense before Felix, verse 10. Then Paul, after the governor had nodded to him to speak, answered, inasmuch as I know that you have been for many years a judge of this nation, I do the more cheerfully answer for myself, because you may ascertain that it is no more than 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem to worship. And they neither found me in the temple disputing with anyone, nor inciting the crowd, either in the synagogues or in the city. Nor can they prove the things of which they now accuse me. But this I confess to you, that according to the way which they call a sect, so I worship the God of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and in the prophets. I have hoped in God, which they themselves also accept, that there will be a resurrection of the dead, both of the just and the unjust. This being so, I myself have always strived to have conscience without offense toward God and men. Now, after many years, I came to bring alms and offerings to my nation, in the midst of which some Jews from Asia found me purified in the temple, neither with a mob nor with tumult. They ought to have been here before you to object if they had anything against me. Or else let those who are here themselves say, if they found any wrongdoing in me while I stood before the council, unless it is for this one statement which I cried out, standing among them, quote, concerning the resurrection of the dead, I am being judged by you this day, end quote. Felix procrastinates, verse 22. And when Felix heard these things, having more accurate knowledge of the way, he adjourned the proceedings and said, when Lysias, Lysias, the commander, comes down, I will make a decision on your case. So he commanded the centurion to keep Paul and to let him have liberty, and told him not to forbid any of his friends to provide for or visit him. And after some days, when Felix came with his wife Drusilla, Drusilla, who was Jewish, he sent for Paul and heard him concerning the faith in Christ. Now as he reasoned about righteousness, self-control, and judgment to come, Felix was afraid and answered, go away for now. When I have a convenient time, I will call for you. Meanwhile, he also hoped that money would be given him by Paul, that he might release him. Therefore he sent for him more often and conversed with him. But after 2 years, Porcius, Porcius, Festus, Festus, succeeded Felix, and Felix, wanting to do the Jews a favor, left Paul bound. Yeah, it's just, it sounds like a political game to me. But anyway, okay, so the focus reading is on Acts 24, verses 1 through 26. So basically just about the whole chapter, except for verse 27. All right, this broken world does not always reward our care for others. Our efforts to speak the truth, or our sincerity in trying to live with integrity. When God's grace exposes people's sin and guilt, we become a handy target for anger. Paul experienced intense hostility with the Jewish leaders in Jerusalem. They mustered several forms of opposition as he stood before Felix. They recruited a skilled orator, Tertullus, Tertullus, who flattered the governor as he argued their case against Paul. They trumped up accusations that amounted to little more than name-calling. Jason of Thessalonica had experienced similar treatment simply for entertaining Paul and his team. And then they arrested Paul and accused Commander Lysias, Lysias, of violence, even though they were the ones on the verge of a riot. They engineered testimony against Paul. They demeaned the entire Christian movement with terms like plague and sect. And then they played political games with Felix, who was obviously used to settling disputes through bribes and other deals. Well, it sounds just like what we're dealing with right now. Learning to recognize this pattern can help us avoid attacks on our faith personally. The hostility we face for our beliefs is more rooted in our opponent's guilt or fear of judgment than in an accurate assessment of who we are or how we act. I'm going to repeat that last sentence, and you write this down and put it all over your house and put it in your car. When you understand when the fear comes from, then you can begin the work when you figure out where the fear is coming from, it's more easily to refute it. So let's read it again. The hostility we face for our beliefs is more often rooted in our opponent's guilt or fear of judgment than in an accurate assessment of who we are, or how we act. The hostility is because of their fear. You see what I'm saying? Their guilt of fear and judgment. It's not about us, but it's more about them. I mean, think about it. Most people who love this country, and I'll even say most people who love the Lord, we're not violent people, but we're not doormats either. So, that's the thing people take for granted, and they think, well, they're a Christian, we can treat them just any old way. Well, to a certain degree you can, but there comes a point whenever you start denying us our, freedom of religion, then that stuff starts hitting home pretty hard. But I am so grateful we live in a country where we have those freedoms. And it's exciting times because I see there's a revolution taking place, not only in our country, but through the world. So it's exciting to be a part of this. And we just have to remain humble. Don't get all high and mighty like they do. Just stay humble, stay grateful, and stay in the Word. That's the best advice I can tell anybody. And, if you can help out on a local level in your city or your county, do it. Get involved. But with all things, you should pray about what you're doing. Don't go down a rabbit hole that, where the devil will take you down that rabbit hole. I promise you, he will. He'll take you down that rabbit hole, and his intentions are to try to work on your mind, and then to exhaust you physically and emotionally. And if we're not careful, it can also, bring about the wrong perspective we want people to know about us. It can make people look at us in a unfavorable way, like if we have mental problems. But that does not say that we're not supposed to stand boldly, but we're also to try to seek peace at all times. And, President Trump, he may not have said the things that you wanted to hear, but at least you always knew where you stood with him, And most likely, if the things that he said got under your skin or hurt your feelings, then maybe that's an indication that we should take that step back and examine ourselves and say, have I gotten so out of touch to who I am and my Creator that I have I don't see the wrong that I'm doing. So if that's the case, every day we should ask God for forgiveness, and every day we have to feed the Spirit. If you don't feed the Spirit, you're not going to be equipped to handle these things that come at you. That's why the Bible tells us to put on the whole armor of God, not parts and pieces or the ones you like, but you got to put on the whole armor. All right, guys, I love y'all. I hope y'all have a great Saturday. Oh, go to the other channel now, back to Michelle Lokerson blog, and I'm going to be reading a short biography out of my New King James Version Modern Life Study Bible. Over there, it's usually very short, of ordinary people who did extraordinary things for Christ. Okay, guys, y'all have a wonderful Saturday. Love y'all. Bye-bye.